Today we'll talk about duties. Not the kind of duties that Trump wants to put on China and the rest of the world to instigate a trade negotiation process where America is going to be able to play in a fair setting where everybody pays their own fair share and not just the United States paying for everybody else. In any case, it's a different story. Talking about the duties where we have an obligation by virtue of our gender or our place or our position in life to do certain things that we don't want to do. We'd rather do something else, something more fun. We'd rather play, for instance. And the best way to introduce this is to think back to a movie that was pretty innovative in its time. I'm old, so I'm taking you back to my movie era. When I'm talking about Back to the Future. Back to the Future and Marty McFly. Marty McFly was a guy that had a friend that was a scientist, and the scientist had him get in a car that went 88 miles per hour and transferred him back into historic eras, and he was able to live life and see his parents way back in history or their ancestors. In any case, it's pretty fun movie. The interesting thing about it, of course, is that when he's back in time, you know how all the time travel movies go. When we make decisions or do certain things that has certain implications or ramifications for the rest of time, at least in the timeline that we're aware of, right? If there's multiple timelines, which is kind of a stupid thing to dwell on, but imagine there are multiple timelines. We can change this timeline by going in the past and changing something that is seemingly insignificant, but it will have butterfly effect, huge effects down the line in how people relate to each other, or what nations become powerful, or how the family does, or whether we even exist in the future. Marty McFly is faced with a time crossroads where he has to do certain things, and those certain things that he does will allow the time that he came from to continue to exist, or it will change it or improve it, or it will make it cease to exist. In any case, he's at a crossroads and he does what he has to do, not what he wants to do. He does what he has to do. He acts on duty. So it's a good way of thinking about duty. Our duty is to make the appropriate things happen in the future. In fact, doing what we must is an investment, not for now, because it seems like a losing investment. We're losing our time and our money and our effort. It's an investment in the future, so the future turns out the way that it should be. Well, for men, acting on duty is a major part of our life. We do things that we have to do, not because we want to, but because it's required for the future of our lives, our families, our friends, our country. It changes everything into the way that it should be from the way that it would be if we just simply went to in Korea we call it the PC bong, right? In America we would call it the arcade, where we could play games all day, right, and give ourselves all kinds of happiness and joy that will finish as soon as we lose the next game. Long-lasting happiness is of a totally different quality, and it comes from making investments in the future, doing our duty. So, masculine duty, being a man, requires that we do things that allow us to provide in the future, to protect in the future, to have the strength to be there and do the things that need to be done in the future. So all kinds of things that would be considered duty are stuff that we might consider leisure, like lifting weights, becoming strong as a man should be, strong enough to be able to save our family or our friends from danger. right? Learning enough about many different things like electrical circuits as well as building techniques, not to become a master, an expert in those things, but so that when the chips are down, we can stand up and we can do what needs to be done, right? Doing our duty, as opposed to finding a game to go play somewhere. When we do our duty, it builds our belief in ourselves. It allows us to realize that when it needs to be done, we can rely on ourselves to get it done. We don't have to call somebody else to change our tire. We can change it. If the belt is broken, we can find some mechanism to keep the car going to the next service center or to fix it ourselves, right? It boosts our own confidence, and certainly it boosts the confidence of others in us so that they can trust us to do the right thing when those right things need to be done. Duty leads to self-actualization. As men, we have a responsibility to be the best men that we can possibly be. That doesn't mean that we're going to be a better general than George Patton. It doesn't mean that we're going to be a better cellist than Yo-Yo Ma. It doesn't mean that we're going to set the world on fire. We have responsibility to change the lives of those that are near us only. If we can reach out and touch the rest of the people in our country or our city or our state or our world, that's great. It is not necessary, right? Becoming self-actualized means that we can do enough that it satisfies our responsibility to ourselves and to those all around us. That's when we can walk around with confidence that we are the man that we should have been, or the woman. If you are a female watching this, that's okay too. So, take the hard road. When there's an alternative to do the easy path or the hard path, choose the hard path. Not because you must, but because you know that it's going to make you better than you are today. Not better than somebody else, but better than yourself yesterday. Better than yourself right now. When you choose the hard path, that's when the future is going to be more comfortable. That's when Marty McFly will bring about the future that should be, that is supposed to be. It's all about duty, self-actualization, doing what we must instead of what we want. Along the way, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for us to do what we want. And as long as we want the right things, those are going to add to our lives as well. But doing our duty, that's going to get us to where we need and really, truly, deep down, qualitatively, and in the long run, want to be. Okay, I'll talk to you more in the next one.